Good morning. Thank you guys for tuning in to the last few episodes. Today's episode is going to be answering some questions that you guys asked me on social media, on Instagram. So let's find out a little bit about me and what you want to know. One of the questions I got asked, which I think is a good place to start, is what got you into boxing? To be honest, I went into a YMCA gym with my dad when I was younger. I think I was about 12. Just for fitness, I was at the age where I wanted to start doing some exercise and start training. So I went to a box fit class, started there with my dad and the trainer there, Philip Holiday. He had his own boxing gym. I grew up always a bit of a tomboy, so I was quite aggressive in some way, and my dad, pushed me, let's get her down into the boxing gym, and that's where it started. Ever since then I've been in love with the sport and growing and getting better as a fighter. Obviously it's shaped me into the person I am today. It's created good values, discipline, commitment. That's where I started. Another question I was asked was, how do I stay in shape all year round? I think for me, health and wellness is a lifestyle. So to move my body, to eat well, to just nourish my soul, is being out, being active. Whether it's out walking the dogs, doing yoga, just general gym work. I love to swim, I'm quite active, so I like to give, when I'm not in camp, other things a bit more of my time, whether it be swimming, gym work, running, stairs, hill runs, but boxing has my heart. How tall am I and how much do I weigh? I am 163, which is 5'4" in feet. And at the moment I'm currently sitting at 60 kilos. I fight at bantamweight, which is 53.3 kilos. I'm not in camp at the moment, so we're at a comfortable weight, we're at a healthy weight. My cycles come back now that I'm sitting at this weight. My nutritionist, he does a great job. Geordie, best of the best. What is my favorite food? This is a hard question because food is life. Who doesn't love food? I would definitely have to say I do love a good poke bowl or an eel rice bowl. Japanese is probably my go-to cuisine, but in terms of favorite food, definitely protein pancakes. If I could have those every day, I would. Do I have a boyfriend? Yes, I do have a boyfriend. His name is Jake. We love to go ride our bikes together. He's the best dog papa to the babies. And he's very supportive. I think in boxing you have to have a supportive partner to allow you to travel the world, go away for periods of time. So to have a supportive partner, he's a good one. How do I handle pre-fight nerves? I think this one is an important question and something that I do quite well because I train my mind. I do a lot of work with my therapist and my healer Roz. We are often visualizing, taking deep breaths, taking moments of stillness to feel and embody emotions before we actually get to fight night. So come fight night, I feel like I've already been there before. I've envisioned it. I embody the feeling of how I'm feeling out the back in the locker room, of how I feel when I walk out to the ring, of how I feel when I get into the ring. So it's sort of just homework really, and training your mind to be comfortable, training your body to feel emotions. You're always going to get nervous, but it's going to be, I feel like it's good nerves. If you're not getting nervous, your mind is not sharp, your mind is not ready. I think that's a thing you have to train to do, is to overcome those feelings of fight nerves and emotions. I guess it's a big build-up when you're fighting in front of thousands of people, one winner, one loser, you're always going to feel nerves. How many tattoos do I have? I actually don't know by heart, but we can have a little look-see and go through them. So I've got this one here, that's 2. I've got 3, I've got 4, 5, do what makes you happy. We've got 6, I don't know if you can see that one there. We've got 7, Sweet Savage. We've got another one on my back here, 8, my shoulder tattoo, 9. And we have 10 and 11. My Māori background. So I was brought up in Tauranga, New Zealand. I lived with my nan and my koro for a wee while down in Bethlehem. I was just a little hoary girl running around, no shoes, no shirt. I was one of the boys, always down at the marae, down at the river with all of my cousins, riding horses, jumping off bridges of the weekend. I lived in New Zealand up until I was 11, 12. We moved over as a family to Australia, to Hope Island. We stayed down in the Gold Coast for about 4 years until we moved up to Brisbane area. I moved to Melbourne for a wee little bit, and then here I am back in the Gold Coast. How was my childhood growing up? I had a fun childhood because I was such a tomboy. I was into touch rugby, bull rush, being a kid as you do, getting up to mischief in the best of times and being home before the lights go out, before it gets dark. I think at school I wasn't popular, but I wasn't bullied. Like, I got along with so many different groups of friends, and yeah, I think I've got a personality, or I tend to am able to connect with all sorts of people. Like, I'd go hang out with the boys, I'd go hang out with the pretty girls, I'd go include myself in everyone really, because I didn't feel like I wasn't not accepted. I don't know if that really makes sense, but I had a good childhood. What sort of bike do I have? I'm a Harley girl. I've got a Sportster 48. I've just recently upgraded from my Ps, so I went from a Street 500 to this bike that I have now. I think it's perfect for me, not too heavy. It's got good speed to it, but I think in future, if I am going to upgrade, I'll definitely, I think I'm going to go with a V-Rod. My dad's got a V-Rod, my partner's got a V-Rod, so I might just join the V-Rod crew. What countries have I traveled to? I love this question because I love traveling. I've been to so many places with my boxing career, and I think I found a love for traveling because I started boxing. The first place I ever went to was Turkey for my first ever Women's Boxing World Championships. Bulgaria, China, Germany, England, Thailand, Bali, UK, Canada, Vegas, New Zealand, plenty of places in Australia. Those are the places I've been to, but I would love to go to Japan, Egypt, and the Maldives. What do I like to do outside of boxing? I like to spend time with my dogs. I love cooking. I love trying new things. Sometimes I'm not the greatest, so I'll try it and it's no good. But a lot of the time I come up with really nice ideas on how to make alternative yummies. So we might actually see some of that in the future episodes. Sun tanning, I love being near the beach. I love being out in the sun. Who doesn't love shopping? I do love going to the shops every now and then. Very low-key lifestyle, basic and simple is my sort of lifestyle. What other sports have I played or am I interested in? I think growing up, my mum put me in like swimming, taekwondo, touch football. But since I started boxing, I've given 100% focus to that. So I haven't really ventured out to, I guess, do anything else. I am an active person and I'll give everything a crack. Like, I will have a turn at something, but I probably couldn't give a lot of my time and energy to it. I would like to, not now, but in future, maybe wrestling, something along those lines. But yeah, not at the moment. Boxing has my 100% focus, and I think the success that I have is because I went all in. What is my coffee order? My coffee order is I usually get a oat piccolo extra hot, but I went for a small oat latte extra hot this morning. I got asked, do I represent Australia or New Zealand? I was born in New Zealand. I will never forget my roots. You know, I'm proud of my culture. I'm proud to represent my Māori culture. But I was pretty much raised majority of my life in Australia. I did school here in Australia. You know, I represented Australia in the amateurs. So I think it's safe for me to say I'm an Australian citizen, but I'll never forget my roots. How long does it take me to recover from a fight? I think that all depends on, one, if you get cut, two, how intense the fight is. Like, does it go the distance? Is your opponent a heavy hitter? Have you had head clashes? You know, in the past I've had plenty of head clashes where I've had quite big hematomas almost. There was a cut from Susie that I got that took me a wee while to recover. You know, I couldn't spar, I couldn't sweat, I couldn't really do much for a good 8 weeks. So that was probably one of my hardest recoveries yet. The last fight that I had, you know, no real injuries other than a black eye that showed up like 3-4 days after the fight because I had a head clash and the swelling had dropped down. But, you know, after a fight, I like to, it's very intense. You go from such a high and then you're staying there until, I guess, you sort of come back to reality and come back to normal life. So I like to prioritize family time, me time, and just a bit of quiet because there's so much noise before the fight. There's so much noise in your own head too in terms of staying focused and staying switched on. So to be able to switch off and just be in the moment and enjoy the wins and or reflect on the night is how I like to, I guess, regroup, recover from the fight. You know, always putting my feet up, hanging near the beach or the pool would be nice. But yeah, nothing too crazy post-fight. Something that I like to do for my own mental health is, one, I like to journal. I think it's important to note down your feelings, note down your goals, note down your aspirations, where you want to go, the person you want to be, the person you want others to see who you are. I like to stay disciplined on my goals. I like to reevaluate my goals, and I think that started from, you know, I was so set on becoming a good fighter and wanting to be a great fighter. I went all in on that, and I knew that I had to stay on this path and not venture off here and there. Yes, there was times that I did venture off and I questioned where I was going and what I was doing, but I always come back to that path, and I feel like it's important to always come back to what you want and what makes you happy. You know, a lot of times I was doubted that I would be able to do this, or I guess make a living from this, and I'm living what I wanted to do. I lived this beautiful lifestyle with beautiful people around me because I stayed focused on what I wanted. What are some of the jobs that I had prior to being a full-time athlete? It's a funny story because I remember a time when I was at school, just finishing school. I was so focused on my boxing. I found a job that was suitable for me to be able to get to training every day. So waitressing, I worked in a chicken factory packing chicken. You know, I did a little bit of tree lopping, traffic control. I was working at a car dealership washing cars. Anything that would allow me to make sure that I got my training in at the right times. But now that I look at it, I think, wow, like I did all those random things just to be able to give boxing 100%, and I've reaped the rewards because now that I live this lifestyle of being able to train, fuel my body correctly, recover properly. Like, I'll come home when me and my partner first started dating, he'd be like, why are you sleeping? It's a part of my job. I'm resting, I'm recovering. So yeah, it's pretty cool to live this lifestyle, which I think I've worked very hard for. What is a talent that I have outside of boxing? I don't know if it's a talent, but I'm very good at, I guess, directions, knowing where I am and remembering how to get somewhere once after going there. Like I'd go overseas, I'd drive somewhere once and I'd remember how to get there without maps. I think that's pretty cool. Like I've got a good navigation sense. Would you rather get punched in the face once a week or do 1,000 burpees every morning? Easily get punched in the face once a week. I do that anyway. I'm not about to do 1,000 burpees every day. No, thank you, not for me. Would you rather get the win by split decision every fight or always win by first round KO but never get paid? I'm fighting to get paid. I am fighting to not get paid. I think I'm definitely going win by split decision every fight. Would you rather spar someone who never gets tired or someone who never stops talking trash? Probably somebody who never stops talking trash. Or no, someone who never gets tired, because in that way I have to work too. I always love a bit of a challenge, so if they're working hard and they're never going to get tired, I'm pushing for as long as I can until I keep up. Would you rather only drink protein shakes for a year or only eat plain rice for a year? I love rice, so I'm eating plain rice. And plus, for my training, I need carbs more than protein to fuel up. Would you rather cut weight eating only broccoli or only chicken breast? Chicken breast. Broccoli's a bit boring. Would you rather have unlimited cheat meals but always feel hungry, or always be full but never get cheat meals? Always be full but never get cheat meals. Thank you for asking all your questions. I hope you got to know a little bit more about me in this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.